Alright. So, this is a discussion on why therapies usually don't work. So, fundamental concept. Feeling bad is related to energy being stuck in the body, to energy not moving, being encapsulated and stuck. That's why the therapies that usually work the best are the ones that actually make things move. It usually involves moving the physical body or doing some type of movement or technique that will allow the energy to be unblocked or moved. It could be, for example, the tapping. So when you have that, then you have some issues, because sometimes you try some stuff, you try EFT, you try Sedona, and it doesn't work. You still feel as bad as before. Well, issue number one, sometimes and a lot of times, and for a lot of people, especially today, things have become so stuck, so encapsulated, not moving, that it takes a lot of input, a lot of work to start making it move, So for example, if you take EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, Gary Craig, the tapping, when you do always the same sequence. Well, it works for a lot of people, for a lot of situations, but also for a lot of people and for a lot of situations, it doesn't work, alright? So you have a lot of situations where you try that and you are stuck, it just doesn't work. In my particular case, in the beginning, for the first few years, it didn't work at all. Well, sometimes little bit, but usually I was still feeling bad. Do that 10 times, 20 times, you still feel bad. So what's happening here? That energy is so stuck that it takes a lot more to start making things shift and move. And just doing the same sequence all the time, even if you hit all of the meridian points, just sometimes does not get it. That's why it's important to have knowledge of different techniques so that you can find one that actually works for you. And it could be also a good thing to get you unstuck, to work with somebody that has experience and that can help you to get past that point, So, and issue number 2 of why sometimes it just doesn't work, why you still feel bad, you're trying to do some stuff to feel better, some therapy, and it doesn't work. Issue number 2 is that things may shift, but sometimes you still feel pain, you still feel painful, even if things actually shifted, so leading you to believe it doesn't work, whereas it actually did. But what actually happened is that you have layers of emotions, because you have suppressed things for so long. Now you have a lot of layers, and maybe the top layer is not actually the main issue. Maybe the top layer is not actually at the core of what is really going on. And so what happens is, when you start tackling the first layer, another layer may come up. Maybe that second layer is actually more deep, closer to the core, and maybe it's actually more painful, So if that happens, well, it worked. Just you have to be aware that you have a lot of layers to go through. So a good way to tackle that issue is to always, before you do any type of treatment of stuff, try to rate how you feel bad, the level of feeling bad on a scale of 0 to 10. And also try to label, give it a name, anger, I feel bad because of this and that. This way you can actually see if it actually shifted in terms of intensity or in terms of label. It's not anger anymore, it's something else, And if you do that, then you can actually see, okay, it actually worked. There was a shift. It's not the same intensity, or it's not the same label. Issue number 3. It's called the apex syndrome. Sometimes it actually completely works, completely blows out the charge, and you actually feel good. But you're like, okay, but there wasn't any issue to begin with. So what's the deal? It really didn't work, really did not feel better at all. Whereas actually before you felt very bad. And now you feel good. That you don't realize it. Why? It's called the apex syndrome. It's when the charge that you've been blowing out was actually so huge, and now it's so gone away, completely blown out, that you're in complete cognitive dissonance about it. You can't really accept that the shift can be so huge, so radical, and now you're trying to rationalize because you can't really accept what happened. And the easiest rationalization is to actually say, oh, okay, there wasn't any issue to begin with. So actually it's weird. It's a weird phenomenon, but it happens a lot. So you have to be aware of it, because it could be one of the things where you try clearing for a while and it doesn't really work, but then you get this huge clearing. It's a huge win, but because you have this weird apex syndrome coming in, then you don't realize it actually worked and you could be giving up, where actually you actually got a huge win. So you have to be aware of that, So bottom line is, energy clearing works, but you have to be aware of things, of some of the issues that you may encounter. You have to be aware that at the beginning it's not so easy. You have to work a lot and really insist, try to find really ways that work for you, because in the beginning it's not the same exactly for every people. But yeah, it works, but it's kind of an art. Alright, it can be broken down to a science when you get really good, but in the beginning it more or less looks like an art. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you miss it, but you have to start, have some rules to see, if it really works or not, which is rate on a scale of 1 to 10 the intensity of the emotion, try to label it, give it a name, and then you can actually see, where are you heading, and write things down, do a list of what you want to work on. This way you can know where you are exactly. So you're in a good path, don't give up, and all the best.